I never thought a simple food delivery would become the reason I quit DoorDash forever. This happened on a cold October night in Pennsylvania. At around 2:13 a.m., I received what looked like a normal order. 1 large pepperoni pizza, 1 bottle of Coke. The delivery address was somewhere outside town, near a road called Willow Creek. Normally I would have ignored it. The payout wasn't great. The drive was over 20 minutes, but it was my last delivery of the night, and I wanted to make a little extra money before heading home. Nothing about the order seemed unusual. At first, as I pulled out of the restaurant parking lot, I noticed something strange. The customer hadn't entered a name. The account simply said, "Deliver to the window." No first name, no last name, just those 4 words. Deliver to the window. I remember laughing because I thought maybe someone was trying to be funny. But things got weirder. About 10 minutes into the drive, I received a message through the app. The customer wrote, "Do not knock." A few seconds later, another message appeared. "Do not come to the front door." Then another. "Only the upstairs window." I stopped at a red light and stared at my phone. What kind of customer wants a pizza delivered to an upstairs window at 2:13 in the morning? I almost canceled right there. But curiosity got the better of me. I kept driving. And that's when I made the mistake that still keeps me awake at night. Because when I finally reached the address, the house was there. But according to my GPS, the address wasn't. And what I saw standing in that upstairs window wasn't waiting for a pizza. It was waiting for me. And before this story ends, you'll understand why I deleted DoorDash that same night and never looked back. It was a Friday night, and I had been delivering food for nearly 6 hours. The roads were mostly empty. The city felt dead. I was exhausted and ready to go home. I checked my earnings. I was only $12 away from my goal. One more order, I told myself. Then I'm done. That's when my phone buzzed. A new DoorDash order appeared. Pickup, Tony's pizza delivery time, ASAP customer name, deliver to the window. I frowned. Deliver to the window? That wasn't a name. Maybe someone was joking. Still, the payout was decent. $18 for 1 delivery. I accepted it. A few minutes later, I arrived at the pizza shop. The place was nearly empty. Only 1 employee remained. A tired-looking guy in his late 20s. He handed me the pizza box and looked at the order screen. Then he laughed nervously. "That's weird." "What?" I asked. He pointed at the customer name. "Deliver to the window." I shrugged. Probably some kid trying to be funny. The employee didn't smile. Instead, he stared at the address. His expression changed. "You going out there?" "Yeah." "Why?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "Nothing." I picked up the pizza and headed toward my car. But before I got inside, he stepped outside and called after me. "Hey!" I turned around. "If I were you..." He paused. "I'd stay on the road." I laughed. What does that mean? But he had already gone back inside. The door closed behind him, and suddenly the joke didn't feel funny anymore. I entered the address into my GPS. 117 Willow Creek Road. The route appeared instantly, 22 minutes away. Most of the drive was through forest roads. No houses, no businesses, nothing, just trees. I started driving. Rain began falling lightly against my windshield. The further I drove, the darker everything became. Then my phone vibrated. A message from the customer. "Do not knock." I rolled my eyes. Okay. A few seconds later, another message. "Do not use the front door." I stared at the screen. What? Then another message arrived. Upstairs window only. A cold feeling moved through my stomach. I looked at the road ahead. There were no streetlights anymore, only darkness. I should have canceled. I know that now. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And that night, curiosity was about to ruin everything. The rain grew heavier as I continued driving. The GPS estimated only 5 minutes remaining. By now, I hadn't seen another car for nearly 10 minutes. No headlights, no houses, no signs of life. Just endless trees. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message from the customer. Don't let it see you first. I almost slammed on the brakes. What the hell does that mean? I read the message 3 times. Maybe someone was trying to scare delivery drivers. Maybe it was a prank. But something about the wording felt wrong. The message didn't feel like a joke. It felt like a warning. I checked the customer's profile. No picture, no reviews, nothing. Just delivered to the window. The rain hammered against my windshield. Then the GPS spoke. Turn left onto Willow Creek Road. I slowed down. The road ahead was narrow and covered in fog. An old wooden sign stood beside it. Willow Creek Road. The sign looked ancient, half-rotted, like nobody had maintained it in years. I turned left and instantly regretted it. The road looked abandoned. Potholes everywhere, trees leaning over both sides, fog creeping across the pavement. The deeper I drove, the worse it became. Then I noticed something strange. No mailboxes, no driveways, no houses, nothing. Yet according to my GPS, the destination was less than a mile away. A knot formed in my stomach. Then suddenly, my phone lost signal. 1 bar, then none. The GPS froze. The map disappeared. I looked around. Darkness, fog, silence. My heart started beating faster. I reached for the pizza box. Still warm, still real. At least I wasn't imagining everything. Then I saw it. A light. Far ahead, barely visible through the fog. A house. An old Victorian-style house. 2 stories tall. Paint peeling from the walls. Broken fence. Overgrown yard. The kind of place that looked abandoned for decades. Yet one upstairs window was glowing yellow. And someone was standing inside it. Watching the road. Watching me. I slowed to a stop. The figure didn't move, didn't wave, didn't blink, just stood there, perfectly still, a black silhouette against the light. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Every instinct told me to leave, but another part of me wanted answers. I checked the delivery address, 117 Willow Creek Road. It matched. This was the place. I parked near the road. The moment my engine stopped, everything became silent. No birds, no insects, nothing. Just rain. And that figure in the window, watching. Then my phone vibrated one last time. A final message appeared. He's looking at the wrong window. I froze. The figure was still standing upstairs. I slowly looked up again. And that's when I noticed something horrifying. There were actually 2 upstairs windows. The figure stood in the left one, but the message had arrived from the customer, meaning the customer was somewhere else, somewhere inside that house, looking out from another window. And suddenly, a second silhouette appeared in the darkness of the right window, standing completely still, watching me. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. The rain continued falling. The 2 figures remained perfectly still. One stood in the left window. The other stood in the right. Neither moved, neither reacted. Neither looked human anymore. A cold chill ran down my spine. I checked my phone again. The message still sat there. He's looking at the wrong window. I stared at it, trying to understand. If the customer sent that message, then who was standing in the left window? And why was the customer hiding in the right one? I wanted to leave. I really did. But curiosity had completely taken over. I grabbed the pizza, stepped out of my car, and immediately felt something strange. The moment my feet touched the ground, the figure in the left window vanished. The moment my feet touched the ground, the figure in the left window vanished. Not slowly, not by walking away. It simply disappeared. 1 second it was there, the next second it wasn't. I froze. The right window figure remained, still watching. The warm pizza box suddenly felt heavy in my hands. Every instinct screamed at me to get back in the car. Instead, I started walking toward the house. The yard was covered in mud. Tall grass brushed against my legs. The closer I got, the older the house looked. Broken windows, rotting wood, cracked walls. There was no way anyone actually lived there, yet someone clearly did, or something did. I reached the front porch. The wooden boards creaked beneath my feet. The front door stood slightly open, only an inch, just enough to reveal darkness inside. A horrible smell drifted out. Wet wood, mold, something else, something rotten. I stepped backward. Then my phone buzzed. Another message. "Don't come inside." I stared at it. Okay, that was fine with me. I wasn't planning to. Then another message arrived. "Just look up." Slowly, I raised my head. The right window was empty. The figure was gone. My stomach dropped, because if it wasn't upstairs anymore, then where was it? I suddenly heard movement, very close, a soft sound, like someone breathing, right behind the front door. I backed away from the porch. The door slowly opened wider. Cree. Darkness filled the doorway. Then I saw a face, an old woman. At least, I thought it was an old woman. She looked impossibly pale. Her eyes were completely black. Not dark brown, not shadowed. Black, like empty holes. She smiled, a huge, unnatural smile, and whispered, "You're late." I nearly dropped the pizza. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she tilted her head, still smiling, still staring. Then she asked something that made my blood run cold. She said, "Did he follow you here?" I couldn't answer. My throat had gone dry. The old woman suddenly stopped smiling. Her black eyes widened. She looked past me, toward the road, toward my car. And for the first time, she looked terrified. Then she whispered, "Run," and slammed the door shut. The old woman slammed the door so hard the entire porch shook. For a second, I just stood there, frozen, confused, terrified. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the rain. Then I remembered what she had said. Run. Not leave. Not go home. Run. Slowly, I turned around. The yard stretched between me and my car. Everything looked normal. At first. Then lightning flashed across the sky. And for a split second, I saw someone standing beside my car. My blood turned to ice. The figure was tall, very tall, at least 7 feet, standing completely still next to the driver's side door. The next second, darkness swallowed everything again. I couldn't see him anymore. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was a tree. Maybe another flash of lightning. He was still there, and now he was facing me. I dropped the pizza. The box burst open in the mud. I didn't care. Every survival instinct in my body activated at once. I started running. The wet grass slipped beneath my shoes. My eyes never left the figure. He didn't move, didn't chase me, didn't wave, just stood there, waiting, watching. Then my phone vibrated. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won again. A new message appeared. "Don't let him see your face." I nearly screamed. How was the customer sending messages? Who was texting me? The old woman? Someone inside the house? I didn't know, and I no longer cared. I just wanted out. I reached my car. The tall figure was gone, completely gone. There was nobody there, nothing, just rain. I yanked the driver's door open, jumped inside, locked every door. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely start the engine. Then I heard it, a knock, tap, 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 from the roof of my car. I froze. Another knock, slow, heavy, like someone walking above me. Tap, tap, tap. Something was on top of the vehicle. I looked upward. I couldn't see anything through the rain. Then the sound stopped. Silence. I started the engine. The headlights turned on, and that's when I saw him, standing in the middle of the road, about 50 feet ahead. The tall figure, motionless. His body looked wrong, too thin, too long. His arms hung almost to his knees, and his face looked completely white, like paper. No eyes, no mouth, no expression. Just a blank white face staring directly at me. The figure slowly lifted one arm and pointed toward the house, behind me. Then my phone buzzed one final time. The message simply read, "He found you." At that exact moment, the figure started running, and it wasn't running toward the house. It was running straight at my car. The second that thing started running, I slammed my foot on the gas. The tires spun wildly on the wet road. Mud sprayed behind me. The car shot forward. My heart felt like it was about to explode. I glanced into the rearview mirror. The figure was gone. For one brief second, I thought I had escaped. Then lightning flashed, and I saw him again, not behind the car, beside it, running next to me, keeping pace. My blood turned to ice. I was doing nearly 50 miles per hour, yet somehow, that thing was running beside the driver's window. Its blank white face remained fixed toward me, watching, studying, almost smiling. I screamed and pushed the accelerator harder. The engine roared, the speedometer climbed. 60, 70, 80. Still, the thing kept up. Its movements didn't even look human. Its legs bent the wrong way. Its arms swung unnaturally long, like a puppet being pulled by invisible strings. Then it suddenly vanished, just disappeared. Again, the road ahead looked empty. I didn't slow down, not for a second. The forest rushed past both sides of the road. Rain hammered against the windshield. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly they hurt. Then my phone buzzed. Another message. I almost threw it out the window, but I looked. "Don't stop for the woman." I stared at the screen. What woman? The old woman? The one from the house? None of this made sense. Then something appeared in my headlights. A person, standing in the middle of the road. An elderly woman, exactly like the one from the house. I nearly crashed. At the last second I swerved. The car slid sideways. The tires screamed. I barely regained control. When I looked in the mirror, the woman was still standing there, perfectly motionless, watching me disappear into the darkness. Then another message arrived. That wasn't her. I felt physically sick. Every message seemed to know exactly what I was seeing, exactly what was happening. Whoever was texting me, they were watching. The road curved sharply ahead. I rounded the bend, and suddenly my headlights illuminated something horrifying. A police cruiser, parked sideways across the road, blocking the exit, red and blue lights flashing. Relief flooded through me. Finally, real people, real help. I slammed on the brakes and stopped. A police officer stepped out of the vehicle, tall, broad shoulders, rain dripping from his uniform. He walked toward my window. I rolled it down slightly. "Officer," my voice cracked, "you have to help me." The officer stared at me, didn't blink. didn't speak, just stared. Then he slowly raised a flashlight, not toward my face, toward the back seat. My stomach dropped, because I hadn't looked at the back seat once since leaving the house. The officer whispered, "Who's sitting behind you?" Every hair on my body stood up. I turned slowly, terrified, toward the rear seat, and what I saw there made me wish I had never accepted that delivery. My hands were trembling. The police officer's words echoed inside my head. "Who's sitting behind you?" Slowly, very slowly, I turned toward the back seat. At first, I saw nothing, just darkness. Then lightning flashed outside, and for a split second, I saw a face, a pale face, sitting directly behind me. My heart stopped. I spun around. The seat was empty again, completely empty. I looked back toward the officer. He was still staring at the rear seat. Not at me, not at the car, at something behind me. Then he slowly stepped backward. Fear appeared on his face. Real fear. The kind you can't fake. He grabbed his radio. "Dispatch!" His voice shook, then suddenly static exploded through the speaker. The radio died. The police lights began flickering. Red, blue, red, blue. Then everything went dark. The cruiser lights shut off completely. The forest became silent. The officer froze, looking past my shoulder, into the back seat. His face turned white. Then he whispered, "Don't move." My stomach twisted. I didn't want to look. I really didn't, but I couldn't stop myself. I glanced into the rearview mirror and saw him, the tall figure, sitting directly behind me, his blank white face inches from the glass, watching me, smiling. For the first time, I saw a mouth, a huge unnatural smile stretching across his face. My body locked up. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't move. Then the figure leaned forward, slowly, until his face was right behind my head, and whispered, "You brought me home." I screamed. The officer suddenly pulled his gun. 3 shots exploded into the night. Bang, bang, bang! The rear window shattered. Glass flew everywhere. I ducked. When I looked up again, the figure was gone. The back seat was empty. The officer stood frozen, breathing heavily, still aiming his weapon. Rain poured around us. Neither of us spoke. Finally, I opened the door and stumbled out. "What was that?" The officer looked terrified, more terrified than I was, and then he said something I will never forget. "You're not the first delivery driver." My blood ran cold. "What?" The officer swallowed. "There have been others." "Others?" He nodded, slowly. "People disappear out here." My legs felt weak. The officer pointed toward the forest. 3 drivers, 1 trucker, 2 hikers, all vanished near Willow Creek Road. I stared at him, unable to process what I was hearing. Then he asked, "Did you go inside the house?" I hesitated. The officer immediately knew the answer. His face dropped. "Oh no." He looked genuinely worried. "Listen carefully." He stepped closer. "If you entered that house," he paused, "it knows your face now." Lightning cracked across the sky. The forest lit up, and for a brief moment, we both saw dozens of white faces standing between the trees, watching us, waiting. For a moment, neither of us moved. The rain continued pouring. The white faces stood silently among the trees. Dozens of them, maybe more. Their pale skin reflected the flashes of lightning. Every single one stared directly at us. The officer slowly lowered his gun. His hands were shaking, and that scared me more than anything. Police officers aren't supposed to look afraid, but this man looked terrified. Then suddenly the faces disappeared, gone, like they had never been there. The forest became empty again. The officer grabbed my arm. "We need to leave." Now! We jumped into the police cruiser. Within seconds, we were speeding away from Willow Creek Road. Neither of us spoke for several minutes. Finally, the officer broke the silence. "You really don't know what that place is, do you?" I shook my head. The officer stared at the road ahead, then began telling me something that sounded impossible. Back in 1988, Willow Creek Road used to be a normal neighborhood. Small houses, families, children, nothing unusual. Then strange things started happening. People reported seeing figures standing outside their windows at night, always watching, never moving. At first, nobody took the reports seriously, until the disappearances started. Pets vanished, then people, one by one. No bodies were ever found, no evidence, no suspects, nothing. Then came the fire. A massive fire destroyed the house at 117 Willow Creek Road, the same house I had just visited. Firefighters searched the ruins. They discovered something horrifying. There were no human remains inside, but there should have been. An elderly woman named Margaret Holloway lived there alone. She vanished without a trace. The house burned to the ground, and everyone assumed she died in the fire. Until 3 months later, a truck driver reported seeing her, standing beside Willow Creek Road, watching traffic. The same clothes, the same face, the same woman. 3 months after the fire. I laughed nervously. "You're telling me this is some ghost story?" The officer didn't laugh. "No." His answer came immediately. "No, Jake." My stomach dropped because I never told him my name. The officer noticed my expression, then looked confused, almost worried. "You didn't tell me your name either." Silence filled the cruiser. Neither of us spoke. Neither of us understood. Then the radio suddenly came alive. Static. Loud static. A voice emerged. Weak. Distorted. Almost impossible to hear. But one sentence came through clearly. "He's still inside the car." The officer slammed on the brakes. The cruiser skidded sideways. We both turned toward the back seat. Nothing. Empty. The officer grabbed his flashlight, searching every corner. Nothing. Yet both of us knew what we'd heard. Someone had spoken through that radio, and they knew something we didn't. Then the officer told me the worst part. The thing from the house wasn't Margaret. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't human. According to local legends, something lived beneath Willow Creek long before the town existed. Something that copied people. Something that learned faces. Something that followed people home. Every disappearance, every sighting, every strange encounter always started the same way. Someone accepted an invitation. Someone entered the house. Someone looked directly into its face. And once that happened, it never stopped watching, never stopped following, never stopped coming closer. The officer looked at me, his face completely serious. Then he asked, "Did it ever speak to you?" I slowly nodded. The officer closed his eyes, like he already knew the answer. Then he whispered, "That's bad. Very bad. Because according to every report, the moment it speaks to you, the countdown begins, and nobody knows exactly what happens when the countdown ends." I didn't sleep that night, not even for a second. After leaving Willow Creek Road, I drove straight home. The officer followed me for almost 20 minutes. Before leaving, he handed me his card. Then he said something strange, very strange. "If you hear knocking after 3 a.m., he hesitated. "Don't answer it." Then he drove away, leaving me alone. My apartment felt normal, safe, warm, exactly what I needed after everything that happened. I locked every door, every window, every possible entrance. Then I sat on my couch, trying to convince myself none of it was real. Maybe I was tired. Maybe stress was affecting me. Maybe there was a logical explanation. Then I checked my phone. The DoorDash app was still open, and my stomach immediately dropped. The order was still active. The delivery wasn't complete. The customer's profile remained on the screen. Deliver to the window underneath.